Things definitely didn't go as planned because the Falcon 9 failed to deliver the satellites to their intended orbit. Picture this. SpaceX had everything set up for what was supposed to be another routine mission. The rocket lifted off beautifully from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying a payload of 24 shiny new Starlink V2 mini satellites. But then things took an unexpected turn. As usual, the launch began without a hitch. The first stage of the Falcon 9, a reliable workhorse that's been reused multiple times, did its job flawlessly. It separated from the second stage and made its way back to Earth, landing precisely on the drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas waiting in the Atlantic. This was the 215th successful landing of a Falcon 9 first stage, and it was celebrated with the usual cheers and high fives at SpaceX Mission Control. But the real drama was happening with the second stage. This is the part of the rocket that's supposed to fire up and carry the satellites into their designated orbit. Unfortunately, something went wrong. Instead of delivering the satellites to their high-altitude destination, the second stage failed to reach the correct orbit. This left the satellites in a much lower orbit than planned, a significant setback for the mission. The exact cause of this failure is still being investigated, but it's clear that this was a major blow for SpaceX. The company has a stellar track record with the Falcon 9, known for its reliability and precision. So when something like this happens, it's a big deal. Engineers and technicians are now poring over the data to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. This isn't the first time SpaceX has faced challenges this year. Just last month, a Falcon 9 rocket had to abort its launch at the last second during engine ignition. That mission, which was supposed to deploy 22 Starlink satellites, was delayed by several days as the team worked to resolve the issue. According to a detailed explanation from SpaceX, the issue occurred during the second stage's attempt to restart its engine. The Falcon 9's upper stage was supposed to reignite to boost the satellites into their final orbit, but instead, an engine rapid unscheduled disassembly occurred. Elon Musk commented on the situation via Twitter, saying, "Upper stage restart to raise perigee resulted in an engine reud for reasons currently unknown. Team is reviewing data tonight to understand root cause. Starlink satellites were deployed, but the perigee may be too low for them to raise orbit. We'll know more in a few hours. Let me show you how the whole situation looked like." And just while I was editing this video, SpaceX posted official info covering what happened. On July 11th, 2024, SpaceX launched Falcon 9 with 20 Starlink satellites from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base. Falcon 9's first stage performed nominally, carrying the second stage and Starlink satellites to orbit, separating from the second stage as expected, and returning to Earth for a successful drone ship landing, representing SpaceX's 329th recovery of an orbital class rocket to date. Falcon 9's second stage performed its first burn nominally. However, a liquid oxygen leak developed on the second stage after a planned relight of the upper stage engine to raise perigee, or the lowest point of orbit. The Merlin vacuum engine experienced an anomaly and was unable to complete its second burn. Although the stage survived and still deployed the satellites, it did not successfully circularize its orbit, but it did passivate itself as normally performed at the end of each mission. This left the satellites in an eccentric orbit with a very low perigee of 135 kilometers, which is less than half the expected perigee altitude. The team worked overnight to make contact with the satellites in order to send early burn commands, but the satellites were left in an enormously high drag environment only 135 kilometers above the Earth. Each pass through perigee removed more than 5 kilometers of altitude from the orbit's apogee, or the highest point in the satellite orbit. At this level of drag, our maximum available thrust is unlikely to be enough to successfully raise the satellites. As such, the satellites will re-enter Earth's atmosphere and fully demise. They do not pose a threat to other satellites in orbit or to public safety. We greatly appreciate the team's effort to learn as much as possible from the satellites and attempt recovery. This event is a reminder of how technically challenging spaceflight is. To date, we have completed 364 successful Falcon launches, safely carrying astronauts, customer payloads, and thousands of Starlink satellites to orbit, making the Falcon family of rockets one of the most reliable in the world. SpaceX will perform a full investigation in coordination with the FAA, determine root cause, and make corrective actions to ensure the success of future missions. With a robust satellite and rocket production capability and a high launch cadence, we're positioned to rapidly recover and continue our pace as the world's most active launch services provider. Despite these challenges, SpaceX has been on an incredible roll this year. They've managed to launch a rocket every 2.7 days on average in 2024, an astonishing pace that showcases their ambition and capability. Out of these numerous launches, a significant number have been dedicated to expanding the Starlink constellation, which aims to provide global high-speed internet coverage. In addition to these Starlink missions, SpaceX has been involved in a variety of other significant launches. They recently sent Turkey's first domestically built satellite, Turksat 6A, into orbit, and they're gearing up for the next big test of their Starship system from Texas. This is part of an ambitious plan to conduct up to 44 Starship launches per year from NASA's Kennedy Space Center, pending FAA approval. So what happens next? Well, SpaceX is known for its resilience. When things go wrong, they learn quickly and come back stronger. Elon Musk, the company's CEO, has always emphasized the importance of learning from failures. This approach has led to many of their groundbreaking successes. Right now, their engineers are likely working round the clock, analyzing what went wrong with the second stage and developing solutions to prevent it from happening again. The Starlink program is particularly crucial for SpaceX. These satellites are designed to create a massive constellation that can provide high-speed internet to even the most remote corners of the globe. It's a game changer for internet connectivity and has the potential to bridge the digital divide in underserved areas. So getting these satellites into the right orbit is a top priority. Looking ahead, we can expect SpaceX to address this issue head-on. They have a track record of turning setbacks into comebacks. Remember, this is the same company that revolutionized the space industry with reusable rockets. They've made space launches more affordable and accessible, paving the way for a new era of space exploration and commercial spaceflight. While this failure is a setback, it's also a part of the journey. Space exploration is hard and setbacks are inevitable, but each failure brings new lessons and innovations. The next time a Falcon 9 rocket lifts off, you can bet it will be even better, more reliable, and more capable than before. For now, the focus is on figuring out what went wrong and making sure it doesn't happen again. The world is watching, and SpaceX is once again in the spotlight, showing us the thrilling, unpredictable nature of space exploration. This is my first time covering SpaceX news, and I'd greatly appreciate your suggestions on what to improve in the next videos. I hope you found this update informative, and please let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on space exploration.